right now on News Channel 8 Today at 11.
The National Guard rolls into Charlotte, North Carolina as demonstrations turn violent after the police shooting of a black man. The state now under a state of emergency. And this morning, we're hearing from the governor of North Carolina as well as Charlotte's police chief.
The city of Sarasota is shedding new light on a heroin epidemic in our area. Police there giving News Channel 8 some shocking numbers regarding use of the drug. And with a month to go before the regular season, the NBA is coming up with a plan just in case players wish to protest during the national anthem. How the WNBA is already seeing that. Good morning. I'm Gene Ramirez.
And I'm Stacy Scheibel. Thanks for joining us. We're going to go straight over to Lee Spann for the very latest on your weather today.
Boy, it is a beautiful day. Look at this. When you look out at the Los Don Cesar over the Gulf of Mexico, which is like glass at this point, not a wave out there, 87 degrees, a perfect summer day out on the beach, except for the last 40 minutes, it's no longer midsummer. We are officially in fall. It began at 10:21. The average high today is still 88 degrees. So I know what you want to know is when is it actually going to cool down? Well, even October 1st, the average is 87. Look at this. November 1st, average of 81. And break out the sweaters for December 1st with an average high of 75. Now, even though the average today is 88, we're going to be even hotter by the afternoon, 90 degrees. Not many storms developing. So fall begins, summer heat continues. Our rain chance today, tomorrow, and Saturday, just 20%. Out in the tropics, yes, still tropical season as well. Two systems out there I'm watching, but both should stay in the open waters of the Atlantic. So you see a 20% chance today, tomorrow, and Saturday, and 30% Sunday and Monday, guys.
Thanks, Lee. Well, the past 2 nights in Charlotte, North Carolina can only be described as chaos. Protests over the officer-involved shooting death of Keith Scott spiraled into riots with violence against police officers and massive property damage. Now the National Guard has rolled in to restore and maintain order. 4 police officers were hurt in the second night of protests. Things turned violent. A shooting between civilians ended with one of them on life support. Flashbangs and tear gas did not seem to slow down the rioters. Charlotte's chief of police spoke less than half an hour ago about the violence.
Overall, we had 2 officers who had eye injuries that were relatively minor, and 3 were treated for heat-related issues. We had a total of 9 civilians, according to medic, that were injured in this incident as well. We made a total of 44 arrests. Charges range from failure to disperse, to assault, to breaking and entering.
The situation's so bad, Facebook activated its safety check-in feature for Charlotte this morning. Tonight, the city is hoping for more calm now that the National Guard has been activated.
And the chaos in Charlotte is just the latest following the shooting of black men by police officers. This summer alone, at least 3 police shootings, all caught on camera, launched high-profile investigations all across the country, and people continue demanding answers.
Police responding to a call of a stalled car shot and killed Terrence Crutcher in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The shooting captured by police helicopter video.
That looks like a bad dude, too.
In it, we see Crutcher walking with his hands up in the air. Then an officer opens fire, reportedly after thinking Crutcher was reaching for a weapon. None was found at the scene. On July 6, Philando Castile fatally shot during a traffic stop in Falcon Heights, Minnesota. His death captured on a Facebook live stream.
I told him not to reach for it. I told him to get his hand out.
Castile's girlfriend shot the video. She claims Castile told the officer he had a gun and was reaching for his ID, as instructed by police, when the officer fired. A child also in the car at the time. The officer involved is currently on leave. It happened just a day before Alton Sterling was shot at close range outside a Baton Rouge, Louisiana convenience store. A witness capturing this shooting on video as well. The convenience store's owner claims Sterling wasn't holding a gun, but says he saw officers remove one from his pocket after the shooting. The officer's also on leave.
And again, these shootings, just the ones from this summer, but the list goes on and on. They've sparked protests nationwide, and those protests continue, as we now see in Charlotte, North Carolina.
And new this morning, the Sarasota Police Department is pleading with the public to help stop the heroin crisis there. The city is seeing a sharp spike in the number of overdoses, and now they're finding more cases of drugs laced with elephant tranquilizers. News Channel 8's John Rogers joins us now live from the Sarasota area with the story we first broke on Monday. Hi, John.
Good morning, Stacey. Now, this problem is only getting worse. In fact, right before today's press conference, they had to release new figures because another person OD'd this morning. Now, in today's press conference, the police department said 44 people have overdosed on heroin since July, and of those, 8 people have died. The CDC says heroin use has more than doubled among young adults in the past decade, and they're finding more cases locally of carfentanil, or elephant tranquilizer, in these drugs. It can be deadly if consumed, and officials say many of these users don't even realize that they're taking it.
You know, this is a community effort. So divided, we're going to fail at this, and united, we have a chance. So please, if you're not involved in this conversation, get involved in this conversation, because the police department can't do it alone.
Now, please contact the police department if you know someone that needs help. There are plenty of resources in the county available to get these addicts the help that they need. Also, we want to point out that tonight at 5 o'clock at the Manatee Community Foundation, there's going to be a community forum to discuss this important issue. Stacey?
Yeah, a sad and scary situation. I hope people heed that call. Thanks, John. And happening today, Governor Rick Scott is in the Bay Area for a very important announcement. The governor very proudly telling us the Moffitt Cancer Center has been awarded the National Cancer Institute's highest designation, Comprehensive Cancer Center. Only 4% of cancer research institutes in the U.S. have that designation. This means Moffitt is one of the most elite cancer treatment centers in the country.
Happening today, St. Pete city leaders will discuss the city's sewage scandal. More than 150 million gallons of raw sewage was dumped into Tampa Bay after Hurricane Hermine. Governor Rick Scott ordered the state's Department of Environmental Protection to get involved. So far, 2 city administrators have been suspended. Now, much blame is placed on the decision to close the Albert Whitted plant. Some council members say there's a good possibility this nightmare could have been prevented if the city council would have voted to keep that plant open years ago. And our 8 on Your Side investigation into the crater cover-up is proving bigger than we first thought. We first told you about this on Friday. A sinkhole dumped contaminated water from the Polk County phosphate plant into the Florida aquifer, which feeds right into wells and groundwater throughout our area. Well, now Hillsborough County commissioners say that the chemical company Mosaic and Florida's Department of Environmental Protection failed to tell them about the spill. The county's Environmental Protection Commission learned of the sinkhole contamination by watching us here on 8 on Your Side. County leaders say they have no idea why they weren't informed.
That's a call for DEP, a question for DEP to answer. It's always helpful to know than not to know. Had it been in Hillsborough County, I assure you the response would have been different.
Sam El-Rabi with the Hillsborough Environmental Protection Committee refers to the water dumped into the aquifer as, quote, nasty. He also says local wells will need to be tested again and again for years to come. If you notice a different smell, taste, or color to your water, don't drink it. You want to call to get it tested.
New this morning, the national anthem controversy first sparked by San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick is bleeding over now into other sports, specifically basketball. Last night, members of the WNBA's Indiana Fever kneeled during the playing of the national anthem before they took on the Phoenix Mercury in the playoffs. Head coach Stephanie White told them she was proud of them for doing it together and that it's bigger than basketball. As for the men in the NBA, both the association and the players' union met this week to discuss how to handle such possible protests. That according to ESPN's Brian Windhurst. Those 2 sides reportedly agreed to work together to come up with a plan. Right now, it's actually against NBA rules to do anything but stand for the national anthem. Players are fined if they break this rule. We'll see what Commissioner Adam Silver, if he makes any changes before the season tips off next month.
We'll be watching. And now an important 8 on Your Side recall. You may want to check your freezer right now. Bluebell Creamery issued a voluntary recall over fears of listeria. Select flavors of ice cream are being recalled after finding chocolate cookie dough from a third-party supplier could have been contaminated with listeria. The ice cream was sold in 10 states, including Florida. They can be identified by the date on the bottom of the carton. We've posted more information about this ice cream recall on our website, WFLA.com. Go on there and check it out, but seem to keep having problems with these recalls.
All right, well, coming up, the nation's top military leaders will face Congress.
Yeah, the issue on the table is Syria, now 5 years into a civil war. The U.S. Senate Armed Services Committee wants to know why more is not being done.
Plus, we're looking to settle it once and for all. Is premium gas worth the extra money at the pump? 8 on Your Side will show you the best choice for your car and your wallet.
We are back, and you may have heard by now, today's the first day of fall. Lee is dressed for the occasion.
Couldn't be any more fall-like.
Another occasion you can dress up for or down, Hobbit Day.
That's right. Today is the day we celebrate the creation of J.R.R. Tolkien's most famous creations, of course, those Hobbits.
And there are several ways that you can celebrate. The first being, of course, to either start reading The Hobbit for the first time or again, or The Lord of the Rings. Then you could also watch movies. There are true Hobbit fan ways as well.
Yeah, because that movie, that's for beginners. Real Hobbit fans are walking around barefoot today. That's because Hobbits don't wear any shoes. You may have known that, right? Or you can go on an adventure. Hobbits like to do that too. Maybe you visit a national park, go kayaking. We know the weather's good for that, even though it is fall. But just find something new to do today and just adventure out there in our area.
And here's how I know that I was somehow a Hobbit in a previous life. The best way is to eat a second breakfast and at some point today drink some ale.
Well, there you go.
Because food and drink are very important to us Hobbits.
So you don't have Hobbit feet, just for the record.
No.
We'll keep it
walking around barefoot on the hot pavement, I'm not thinking it's the best idea.
Just do the ale thing and have an adventure, and that's it. We'll call it a day.
Will do. It's really a beautiful day. I mean, we know it's fall. We also know it's not going to feel like it for quite some time. So, yeah, great day to get out and enjoy, actually, because we have lower rain chances. Not even a cloud in the sky when you look out of the Lakewood Club in Lakewood Ranch, where it's 86 degrees. Veterans Ford in Tampa, looking over the Veterans Expressway. A few more clouds have started to develop, but it is dry there, 84 degrees. Taking a look at the Innisbrook Golf and Spa Resort, 87, and we have, yeah, look, there's someone playing golf, enjoying this beautiful day, celebrating the Hobbits, of course, 87 degrees at that location. So the fall season has begun. And what does that even mean? The autumnal equinox happened this morning at 10:21. That's when the sun's direct rays were right over the equator, and there's roughly the same amount of daylight and nighttime hours. The sun rose this morning at 7:19 and will set at 7:26. And during that time, we should actually see a lot of sunshine. 87 degrees, feeling warm at lunchtime, 90 at 4 p.m. Just a 20% rain chance. Most of us will stay dry all day, and even the storms that do develop will end by 7, and it'll be 85 degrees. Plant City, you're feeling the heat, 86 degrees. It's 87 in Tampa, 88 in Sebring, 86 right now in Brooksville. So the reason that I'm lowering the rain chance, there's still plenty of humidity here at the surface. That's why it's been such a kind of a muggier morning. But way up in the atmosphere, less amount of rain, less amount of moisture, and we rely on that upper level moisture to produce the heavy rain. And so this afternoon, look at this, 2 o'clock. Barely any storms. Now, of course, that means it's hot because we don't get the cooling effect from those storms, but continuing on through 5 p.m. I mean, look at this. Just not a lot of rain out there. That will continue through about 7, 8 o'clock, and everything clears out. Tomorrow morning should be quite similar. Again, a bright, sunny start to your day, and only that 20% chance of afternoon storms. I'll take you out into the tropics, where we have Tropical Depression Carl and Tropical Storm Lisa, but both should stay away from the U.S. coastline, so that's certainly some good news. Locally, 20% rain chances through Saturday, 30% for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Stacey and Jean.
Thanks, Lee. Well, happening now, the country's top military officials are getting grilled on Capitol Hill over America's role in the Syrian civil war. Defense Secretary Ash Carter and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Joseph Dunford, are testifying right now before the Senate Armed Services Committee. This hearing is nearing the 2-hour mark. It started at 9:30 this morning, and the hearing comes after the latest attempt to secure a ceasefire in Syria all but collapsed. The GOP-led committee wants to know more aggressive strategies and why they're not being implemented as the war in Syria nears its 6-year mark. And the ceasefire was the brainchild of a U.S.-Russian partnership in order to get humanitarian aid delivered to civilians. But a UN aid convoy was bombed earlier this week, and the U.S. is blaming Russia. What's more, the U.S. is calling out Russia during the UN General Assembly, and it's likely to continue today. Secretary of State John Kerry and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov are set to speak at today's meeting of the International Syria Support Group.
And across America, investigators of this past weekend's New York City and New Jersey bombings are looking for 2 men who took a suitcase they found on a city street. Take a look. Detectives believe these guys right here didn't realize the wired pressure cooker they removed from that suitcase and then left behind could have blown them to bits. Police stress they're looking for these men as potential witnesses, not as suspects. And heavy rains caused flash floods in parts of Virginia. Take a look at this. It left homes flooded, streets flooded, some cars stranded there. The Tidewater region of the state was drenched with 3 to 4 inches of rain over just 2 days, and as much as 10 inches of rain in South Virginia Beach. In Norfolk, the rain and flash flooding made the morning commute tough for many. By midday, the water began to recede in parts of the city, but many areas were still dealing with waist-high water. The rain and flooding caused widespread school closures, also delays, and left many drivers stranded.
Some good news for United Launch Alliance and Vandenberg Air Force Base in California. The Canyon Fire, which has burned more than 12,000 acres, is now 70% contained. And as you can see from this picture, the fire got very close to the base's launch pad. United Launch Alliance and SpaceX used this pad to send their rockets to space and the International Space Station. But thanks to the more than 1,100 firefighters, that fire is now getting under control. Monday's ULA launch is on schedule. In an 8 on your side alert, drivers waste billions of dollars a year paying for premium gas when the regular kind might do just as well.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't need to pay for that. That's according to AAA. News Channel 8's Meredith Sansulo is here to set the record straight.
Some cars require premium. Most don't. A lot of people will use premium thinking their cars will run better. But there's something better you can do that will save you money.
Putting premium gas in a car that calls for regular is siphoning money out of your bank account.
More than 16 million people admit to using a higher octane gasoline, and just in the past year, those Americans have spent more than $2 billion.
The majority of cars sold today are designed to run on regular. Researchers tested regular and premium gas in 3 popular models designed for regular and found no increase in performance, fuel economy, or emissions. Now, what about people who occasionally put premium gas in their tank, thinking they're giving their car a bit of pampering?
Some people look at it as maybe I'm taking my vehicle in for a spa day or I'm giving it a little treat, but we found that it really has no benefits whatsoever.
If you really want to treat your car, go ahead and get your regular gas, but fill up at a station that has top-tier gas. Top tier is proven to leave less residue on your engine, and your engine will perform better. Top tier has detergents in it that keep your engine cleaner. A separate study from AAA shows the gunk that can build up on engine components when non-top tier gas is used consistently. The result, cheap gas leaves more in your pocket in the short term, but could cost you in the long term.
A list of the stations that sell top-tier gas is on our website, WFLA.com. But basically, it's any of the major gas stations.
All right, good to know. Well, one of Florida's most famous musicians is using his celebrity to further one of his passions.
We're going to tell you what Pitbull is up to out west. Plus, every day we get closer to the release of the next Star Wars movie. My daughter can't wait. But Disney's CEO is trying to lower expectations to stockholders. We're going to explain why on News Channel 8 today at 11.
We're back. Now, you usually see Pitbull, the rapper, in music videos with flashy clothes, cars, lots of dancers, usually in Miami. But how's this for a change of scenery? Pitbull was just spotted at a charter school near Las Vegas. He was in Henderson, Nevada for the grand opening of his school, SLAM. It stands for Sports Leadership and Management. He's already got a campus in Miami.
You're making history. All right? This is the second SLAM school in the United States of America. I want you to own that. I want you to understand how powerful this is going to be, not only in the United States of America, but also all around the world.
The school's looking to change up how students all across the country are taught in the classroom.
Well, the sequel to the hit Robin Williams flick Jumanji is now in production, and one of the stars posted the first image of it, and it's getting quite the discussion on social media. The movie stars Kevin Hart, Dwayne Johnson, Karen Gillan, and Jack Black. But as you can see, Gillan is dressed differently than her male co-stars. This has some people a little angry, calling it blatant sexism. That being said, in a Facebook post, Johnson explained that Gillan's character, her wardrobe makes sense in the context of the film. So I guess we'll find out more when it hits theaters next July.
All right. Well, I hope I'm not bursting any bubbles here. Studio chiefs usually pump up the big movies before they hit theaters. Not in this case. Fans of The Force can't wait for Rogue One, a Star Wars story, to hit theaters in December. But the head of Disney is playing down expectations. According to Variety, Bob Iger, I always say this, Bob Iger, I got it right, told investors he doesn't expect Rogue One, the first standalone movie in the Star Wars series, to match the box office of last year's The Force Awakens, which of course was huge. That one grossed more than $2 billion worldwide. May not match that, but people still go out there and watch it.
Absolutely.
I know at least your daughter will.
She will. I wouldn't doubt if it breaks records, no matter what.
Yeah.
Well, coming up, with 2 straight nights of unrest in Charlotte, many are turning to this year's presidential candidates for comment.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at how Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are reacting on the campaign trail. Plus, we're continuing our stories of success leading up to this year's Heart Walk. Coming up, meet 2 bank tellers being hailed as heroes. You're watching News Channel 8 at 11.
Right now on News Channel 8 today at 11.
2 nights of violence in Charlotte has forced North Carolina's governor to call in the National Guard. The 2 people running for president have something to say about these protests and riots. That's straight ahead.
The CEO of Mylan, the maker of the EpiPen, got hammered in D.C. Her company's huge price increase drew anger and frustration from the House Oversight Committee, but not as much anger and frustration as her comments.
And an amazing story of 2 bank tellers saving the life of one of their regular customers. It's our latest in a series of incredible stories as we lead up to this year's Heart Walk. Good morning, I'm Stacey Schottel.
And I'm Gene Ramirez. Thanks for joining us. Let's check in with Lee Spann, see what our first day of fall is looking like.
Well, it looks a lot like summer. In fact, it's going to look a lot like summer for the next couple of weeks. Lakeland Auto Mall camera, as we look out over the streets there, clouds are beginning to build, but there's not a lot of moisture for these clouds to work with, so we won't see a lot of rain coming from them. 88 degrees. It is certainly hot, so I know what you want to know is now that it's fall, when is it going to cool off? Well, the date when we see our first low temperature drop below 60, and if you're like me, if it's below 60, you get your boots and your scarf on. Well, the average first day for that is October 17th. So like I said, we got a few weeks to wait. But the latest that's ever occurred is November 15th, so almost 2 months from now. So yeah, we have some time to wait. Just kind of put it in the back of your mind. Dry air is trying to force its way down the peninsula of Florida, but it's dry air in the upper levels of the atmosphere. That's why it still feels humid here at the surface, but it's also why I don't expect much rain today. I do expect it to be hot, 90 degrees. Of course, that is above the average of 88. Rain chances, just 20% today, tomorrow, and Saturday, going up to 30% Sunday and Monday. Guys?
In your vote coverage this morning, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump weighing in on the protests in Charlotte. Tracy Potts has that story, plus where the candidates are today.
Presidential candidates are reacting to the violence in North Carolina, a battleground state, and the police shooting of an unarmed man in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
It's unbearable, and it needs to become intolerable.
Donald Trump at a Fox town hall says to stop inner city crime,
I would do stop and frisk. I think you have to.
Democrats point out a federal court declared it unconstitutional. Trump argues Democrats have turned their backs on black voters.
They look for the votes of people living in the inner cities, and then they say, we'll see you later in 4 years.
Trump's down 7 points among likely voters in our latest NBC News Wall Street Journal poll. 6 in a 4-way race headed into Monday's debate. Clinton's team says she's practicing, not sure as they put it, which Trump will show up. She's out with new web videos hitting Trump on not releasing his taxes yet.
Tax returns, you think there's almost like something wrong. What's wrong?
And using his charity's money to pay off legal settlements.
There's nothing like doing things with other people's money.
Meantime, Trump's aligning himself with former rival Ted Cruz, backing Cruz's push to extend government authority over the internet. Tracy Potts, NBC News, Washington.
A top Democrat here is asking the IRS to investigate how Donald Trump's foundation spent money on his behalf. The agency is already looking into pay-to-play allegations against the Clinton Foundation. And YouTube is encouraging everyone to register to vote. It just launched a vote campaign, #VoteIRL, which stands for Vote in Real Life. The campaign is targeting young voters, especially those voting for the very first time. It explains how easy and quick it is to register and how important it is to actually get out the vote instead of just talking about it online.
All right, let's talk about space for a minute here. No turning back. The U.S. is committed to putting humans on Mars in the next 15 years. And Florida's own senators seem to be leading the way.
We are going to Mars. We're going to Mars in the decade of the 2030s with humans, and the bill sets a goal of the colonization of other worlds.
I really think this bill lays out a blueprint for the next generation of American space policy and provides NASA with the resources it needs to advance our nation's space program.
A bill sponsored by Senator Bill Nelson would give NASA $19.5 billion starting October 1st. And as you heard Senator Bill Nelson say, this is to colonize other worlds. This isn't just about visiting Mars. The bill calls for a human settlement on the red planet. Senator Nelson is hopeful the bipartisan support this bill received will continue as the Senate begins work on a more comprehensive multi-year blueprint for the agency next year.
Around the world this morning, a U.S. military aircraft crashed off the Japanese island of Okinawa. The pilot did eject safely from the aircraft and was rescued quickly. The aircraft had been assigned to Okinawa, which hosts more than half of the 50,000 U.S. troops based in Japan. The cause is under investigation, and the name of the pilot is not being released at this time.
Well, how's this for a reality show? Political candidates in a fist fight on TV. It happened in Georgia, the country, not the state. Candidates for parliament from the Democratic movement and the industrials political bloc started to insult each other on air, and then you see what happened there. That quickly escalated. A physical fight is what happened. The political climate heating up in Georgia. The country just days ahead of the October 8th elections.
And you've probably heard that art comes in all shapes and sizes. Well, an art exhibit touring the world right now showcases sculptures of superheroes built from Legos. It's called the Art of the Brick DC Superheroes, and it's now in Madrid, Spain. Look at that. It includes more than 120 original works created exclusively from Lego bricks. It depicts stories and characters from DC Comics. Through the building blocks, the artist says his work has inspired countless children to discover the artist within themselves. That exhibit opens tomorrow.
Well, the CEO of the company behind EpiPens gets an earful on Capitol Hill. Now, we've told you about the skyrocketing price of EpiPens over the past 9 years. Now, members of Congress are showing their disapproval to the head of the pharmaceutical company, Mylan.
The greed is astounding. It's sickening. It's disgusting.
And they raise the prices. The reason being, I believe, to get filthy rich at the expense of our constituents.
If you want to come into Washington, you want to come to the state capitol.
Mylan CEO Heather Bresch tried to defend the EpiPen price increase from less than $100 to more than $600 in just 9 years. EpiPens deliver an emergency dose of epinephrine when people suffer dangerous allergic reactions to anything from bee stings to peanuts.
I've heard numerous stories of people who have actually chosen to go without an auto-injector at all because they simply couldn't afford one.
Now, Mylan does plan on selling a generic version for $300. The company says it also offers a $300 savings card for patients who have a difficult time paying the full price of the EpiPens.
Someone in the U.S. suffers a stroke every 40 seconds. A stroke occurs when blood flow to the brain is interrupted, and acting fast when a stroke is occurring is key. Thanks to two bank tellers in Tarpon Springs, one of their customers lived to tell about her stroke.
I noticed by her demeanor something wasn't right. She didn't look 100%, so I asked her, "Are you feeling okay today?"
Bank teller Crystal Kitchens is talking about Florence, one of her regular customers at this Regions branch in Tarpon Springs. Back in June, Florence came through the drive-thru to cash a check, and Kitchens noticed something wasn't right.
She was mumbling a little bit. I had a hard time understanding what she was trying to say.
Kitchen called her friend and head teller Renee Waslowitz over to get her opinion.
And I saw exactly what Crystal was seeing was the drooping of the face, and she was slurring her words and seemed very, very confused, very confused.
But Florence was being a tad stubborn when the tellers asked her to come inside the bank to get a drink of water and cool down.
I was wondering what they would, what they were doing, why, that's all.
So Waslowitz went to stall Florence while Kitchens dialed for help.
So I ran outside because I didn't want her to take off and go anywhere.
I called 911, and after I got off the phone with them, they told me to keep an eye on her, told me not to give her any water, not to give her any food, make sure that she stayed here.
She kept saying she felt fine.
She wanted to go home. And so then, sure enough, the ambulance came, and they confirmed with us that she was having a stroke for sure.
All I remember was that they took the keys. Whoever sat in the car took the keys, said he was going to lock it up. And then I just was in the ambulance.
And thankfully for Florence, these two acted on their instincts and called for help fast. Florence is suffering no after effects from the stroke. And boy, is she grateful. So what do you think of these two?
Well, they're my angels. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for them.
The American Heart Association honored the tellers with Stroke Hero Awards. And Kitchen still gets choked up when thinking back to that day in June.
Because you never know. And when customers are arguing with you, like, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, what's that drawing point? Like, okay, you need to be here, you know, so.
From frightened then to fantastic now, Florence just takes it all in stride. You look great.
Thank you.
And you're going to be a Regions customer for life, I imagine, right?
Well, until the money runs out, yeah.
She's a character. We're glad she's great.
She's doing okay.
Yeah, the 2016 Heart Walk is right around the corner, and we walk every year because of stories like those. And News Channel 8 is committed to raising $100,000 or more again this year. But we need your help. Fusillo Kia is again generously matching the first $50,000 that we raise. So every dollar you give right now really counts as two. The walk is November 12th at Raymond James Stadium. Just go to WFLA.com/heartwalk to donate and join our team. You said you were signing up too.
I am signing up. Yeah, I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to.
Yep. You were there last year. It is a good time.
Yeah, but thank God for those tellers. I mean, they acted so quickly, and they fought with her a little bit. They said, "No, you're not okay.
Florence admits
we're gonna
she's
get
stubborn."
You up. Okay, well, Florence, next time, just listen to them.
Well, coming up, car seats. Parents, you know they can sometimes be tough to figure out.
But don't worry, we know how to help. Coming up, we're talking about common mistakes made when using and installing car seats.
And the matchmaking app Tinder is using a new formula of sorts to help you find your perfect mate. And it actually does sound like a pretty good idea. That's next on News Channel 8 today at 11.
We are back. When it comes to sharing things in a romantic relationship, few things are important as music, especially if it's something like, you know, let's get it on.
Yo, oh, goodness. Well, maybe not so much in the new relationships, but in a new relationship, it's an instant talking point. It can provide an easy connection to someone.
Yeah. So it's no wonder that the matchmaking app Tinder is now going to exploit that music thing. Tinder is now swiping right on Spotify. Spotify says Tinder users can now share a personal anthem on their profiles and swipe to see who has the same taste in music.
Users then can play previews of other people's top songs on Tinder with or without a Spotify account. And this is great because then when you go on that first real live date, they won't be fighting over what station you're listening to in the car.
Because you're already on the same
You're on the
station.
same music page.
That was actually when my husband and I were just starting to date. We hated each other's music, so that was actually something that we got to talk about.
Wait, what did you like and what did he like? I'm curious.
Well, you know, he liked pop music.
And you like?
And I liked pretty much anything but pop music. This was more than a decade ago.
Now have your tastes merged?
Now they've kind of come together.
Now you both listen to heavy metal.
Yeah. All right. We're being told this needs to move on. So let me take you outside real quick. It's beautiful outside. A little on the hot side from our famous take camera in Brandon, where it's 86 degrees. Plantation and Crystal River, also a beautiful start. Look how clear that water is, how calm. 87 degrees, 54% humidity. It's been a lot more humid. Now, it's still steamy out there, but this is certainly not the oppressive humidity that we see in July and August. It's nice out at the Hula Bay restaurant in Tampa, too, where it's already 90 degrees. So it feels warm. A few clouds, 87 degrees at 1 p.m., 90 at 4. Only a 20% rain chance between about 2 o'clock this afternoon and 7 p.m. 85 degrees. Sun will be coming to the rain will be coming to an end. It's 84 in Clearwater right now, 89 Sarasota, 86 in Zephyr Hills. There's still plenty of humidity. I know I keep talking about this drier air. Well, it's way up in the atmosphere, so it already feels like 102 in Fishhawk. So yes, it's plenty hot. This is the heat index, 102 in Sebring, feels like 96 in Tampa, feels like 95 in Brooksville. But now I'm going to talk about this drier air some more. Again, It's not the humidity, it's this upper level dry air. And notice what's happening over the next 24 hours. See this blue and red color? That's the drier air. That's the reason why I'm going to keep the rain chances so small between now and Saturday. By Sunday, that humidity, that higher humidity begins to creep back to the north. So watch the forecast here as we go through time. The sea breeze is going to start to kick in a bit. So around 1:30, yeah, you can see a spot of shower or two. And then most of the rain would happen between about 2 o'clock and 4 p.m., mostly east of I-75, but even then, very small rain chances, very isolated around the area. Here's the latest information on Tropical Depression Carl. May actually become a tropical storm as it moves away from the U.S. coastline. Then there's Tropical Storm Lisa, which should actually fizzle out, and that too, moving away from the U.S. coast. So both that, certainly some good news. Today's first day of fall with a high of 90. 90 on Friday, 90 on Saturday. Without the rain, we get a little warmer than average there. As we head into next week, rain chances go up slightly, 30% in the first part of the week and 40% near the end. So that's my taste in fall weather. Not going to talk about my taste in music.
We'll leave that alone.
I'm sticking with the heavy metal.
Yeah.
Lee, thanks. Well, an 8 on your side report. It's something parents do multiple times a day, buckling up your kids in car seats.
But if you don't know how to install or use that car seat correctly, you could be putting your kid's life in danger. News Channel 8's Mary McGuire has more on what parents need to know before hitting the road with their kids.
Car seats are meant to keep kids safe, but if you don't know how to install them properly, your kids could be in danger.
You know, I use a booster seat and a regular car seat, and, you know, keeps him pretty safe in the car.
Car seats are a safety necessity for father of 2 John Lugal, especially when he is out driving on busy Florida roads.
I not only, you know, watch the way I drive, I got to watch the way everyone else drives, because you never know.
This morning, Safe Kids Florida Suncoast, supported by Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital and Cedar Hammock Fire Rescue, hosted a national certification training course for local agencies. Using car seats correctly can prevent car crash-related injuries in kids by up to 71%. Trouble is, lots of parents make mistakes when installing these seats and strapping their kids in.
Parents are often concerned about their child being too tight in the car seat, and they keep the harnesses too loose. So they can perform an easy pinch test, and if they can pinch fabric, that means the car seat is too loose or the harness is too loose.
Safety experts also see parents getting rid of car seats before their child is ready.
Parents try to graduate children too early into a booster seat, and what they have to look at, the minimum weight and age is 4 and 40.
Just like anything plastic, car seats don't last forever, so be sure to check the expiration date. Now, if you do purchase a new car or booster seat, experts recommend registering that product immediately with the company so you're notified of any product recalls. Reporting in Bradenton, I'm Mary McGuire, News Channel 8.
And the National Traffic Safety Administration has a tool for you to find a car seat inspection station in your area. We've put a link to that on our website at WFLA.com.
A consumer watch for you this morning. Yahoo is expected to confirm a massive data breach that reports expose 200 million user accounts. This summer, Yahoo said it was investigating an incident in which hackers claimed to have access to user names, passwords, and personal information, and were selling them online. The breach could implicate the nearly $5 billion sale of Yahoo's core internet business to Verizon. Well, there's a snag in CVS Pharmacy's plans for curbside pickup. The chain is delaying this program, which was set to begin nationwide today. It's not going to happen now till Monday. It lets customers order items online and pick them up curbside in an hour. A spokesperson explained so many people tried to use the app during a soft launch that the orders became backlogged. So it sounds convenient until everybody's doing it at the same time.
Right.
Then you can't get what you need.
Growing up in Minnesota, we had a grocery store where you could drive through and pick up your groceries, which was awesome.
Yeah.
It was very nice. All right, we're going to be back with more News Channel 8. 11 today. I always screw that up.
News
Say it
Channel
for me.
8 today at 11 a.m.
Thank you.
Continues after this.
You know what I meant, right?
I gotcha. You gotta eat.
Some breaking news now. Deputies have made an arrest in the murder of a 95-year-old Highlands County man. Here she is, 35-year-old Lace Heflin. Originally, authorities had her in custody for questioning, not charging her, but now they are learning she is officially charged in the murder of Dominic DeMundo. Deputies say Heflin had cocaine and a stolen wallet when they caught up with her.
And some more breaking news we're following now. A live look here from Eagle 8 HD. This is over I-75, right near the rest area at mile marker 277. Florida Highway Patrol tells us one lane southbound is closed right now. Apparently, a Border Patrol agent tried making a traffic stop there, but several of the suspects ran from the vehicle. One was actually hit as he ran away. It's not known right now how long this closure will last, but again, one lane southbound, I-75 near mile marker 277, shut down right now. Keep that in mind if you're headed that way, and look for updates in our later newscast and on WFLA.com.
And on a lighter note, do you love ice cream?
I do.
Well, today's the day then.
National Ice Cream Cone Day. Can't have it in a cup. No one can say for sure who invented the ice cream cone, but they show up in French cookbooks from way back, 1825. Now, they were originally referred to as little waffles because that's what they are, right? Little waffles rolled up in the shape of a cone. The ice cream cone, as we know it today, made its debut at the World's Fair in St. Louis in 1904. The inventor then sold his company to Nabisco in 1924. They still make the ice cream cones today, and we just sit back and enjoy them, whether you like what is it, cake cone versus waffle cone, whatever it is.
They're all good.
It's good stuff. Add a little crunch.
They're all good. If I'm going to have ice cream, it's going to be in a cone. No
splurge, right?
Just get extra napkins because it can get a little messy.
That is true. And it's a hot day, so it's going to melt right down the sides, right? This is a look right from our studio here, just over the Hillsborough River. It's 87 degrees. Now, that dew point is 77. That's pretty steamy, let me tell you. I keep talking about this drier air, but that's way up in the atmosphere. Down here where we are, it's hot and humid. Only a few isolated storms develop, and that's one of the reasons why I'm expecting it to be such a hot day today at 90 degrees, despite the fact that fall has begun. We're not going to see a lot of rain to help cool us down. Similar conditions for Friday and Saturday, 90 degrees, 20% rain chances. As we head into next week, the rain chances actually go up, but I want you to notice how those overnight lows go down a little bit. So that's an indication that we'll have lower humidity here at the surface, even though we're going to have higher rain chances here at the surface.
Nice to get a little bit of a break from the humidity and all the rain, even if it's short-lived. We'll take it. Lee, thanks. Thank you for joining us.
And I'll see you back here tonight at 4.